All right, back for the finals. Adrian is on here. I'm on the right. Once again, last time you'll have to hear this if you're watching these in a row. That when I'm pointing out anybody's mistakes, I'm not doing it to like dunk on them or make them feel bad or anything like that. I'm just pointing out small flaws. From my recollection, I don't think I see any mistakes that Jefferson makes in this match. But I'll do my best to see if I can identify anything he could have done different in this game or this match to find something else. I'm leading off with all of my dice here because I know he's got 3 4 speeds in the deck. He's got 3 hyperspace jumps in the deck. I have all the money he wants right here. I'm at risk of getting jumped, and I need to build up a board position so I can come back. The fact they didn't start with any 4 speeds in hand is very, very, very lucky for me. So I'm hoping that by getting both 4 speeds down plus a force meditate, I can build up and then move in to another round and actually accomplish something. He's going to focus both of his Han dice to special, if I remember correctly. And then I'm just going to split the damage. I think it's correct for him, especially not having any 4 speeds of his own, to want to target Yoda, but I can't just put 4 damage on Leia right off the rip. So I'm forced to split him up here. He's going to build up a huge stockpile, 6 resources in round 1, not even on his battlefield. And at this point, I didn't know if he just didn't have any upgrades or if he really did not want to be dropping them into occupied city. So he jumps me right there. No reason for him not to. Best decision he can make. He's got no relevant cards in his hand except for that all in, it looked like. But during this time, he just asked me if I wanted to do this best of 3 for the trophy. I say yeah. And so he decides to take the risk and just dump a bunch of cards to try to find upgrades that he didn't have. Looks like he found an upgrade there. And we'll see how this goes. I make a pretty grave error at some point in this game. I can't remember exactly when it is. All right, standard action. First action is to roll Yoda out. I want 4 speeds to get a bunch of actions, even though this die configuration has me super at risk of easy pickings. But he's only got 2 easy pickings. Removing there's a lot of combinations of easy pickings that he could do on those dice, depending on what they roll. There's a lot of combinations that don't actually hurt me too bad if he spends $1 and a card to remove. As long as I get extra actions, I'm okay. And if he spends one of his easy pickings on 4 speeds and then doesn't come out of that round with battlefield control, or he doesn't slam me with a ton of damage, or he doesn't what do you call it? Or if he doesn't jump me, then that was just a wasted card, a wasted action, and a wasted resource from him. I don't agree with an overconfidence on those 4 speeds there. I don't think that actually solves any problems that he had with that he can then address with what he has in his hand. So is that a hasty exit and all in? The double cross, is that what that is? And then another 4 speed. So the overconfidence there, that was a slight mistake. But then so is this overconfidence. Or I'm sorry, this beguile. So if I limit him to 4 damage, that is what it is, but I get to keep battlefield control. If I and then he's gonna roll out or if I limit him, if I let him get 4 damage in, then I'm guaranteed to keep battlefield control. I can resolve that shield. I can do things. And beguiling, like he's gonna roll Yoda out. The odds of him not finding that other 2 damage, is pretty low anyway. And if he decides not to roll Yoda out, then he gets battlefield control. He still has a pile of money, and he can play weapons or a force speed and start to find his way back into the game. So his overconfidence was a mistake. My beguile there was a mistake. But he does roll out Yoda, which I think was another misplay because he was damage limited to 2, and that's not that impactful. So, I mean, it all kind of cancels each other out, and I'm able to roll out Yoda to start. Walks into the easy pickings on 1 force speed, 1 Yoda die. And all right, right here. Okay. All right. Um, how do I phrase this? Right here, I made an assumption that DL44 follows the conventions of most other uh, removal or mitigation effects in the game, in that I thought it was a May ability, and I was waiting for him to tell me to remove a die. I did not forget that DL44 removes a die. I thought it was a May ability. That is a violation of game rules. It's a violation of game rules. Um, it's on both players, but as the beneficiary of the violation of game rules, I feel more responsible. Um, I don't have an excuse for that. That was bad. And if Jefferson ends up watching this, I'm sorry, man. I know better. I should know better. I don't know why I did that. I got nothing. And thankfully, it ends up not being impactful for just the way things work out. I'm going to end up re-rolling that force speed at some point, and it's going to stay on shield. So thankfully, it didn't end up as focus, which would have been majorly impactful, and it stays on shield. But man, that was bad. But let's see where things go from here. He's got the DL44, and I'm gonna remove one of those Han dice to try to damage cap him for this round. And I want to keep up my money. And I know that I might get jumped again this round. So I wanted to, again, build more towards a state for me to keep fighting and keep generating and do my work on turns where I have additional actions off of force speed to get things done in. I'm not sure that reroll was necessary, but it ended up being a good move for him because yep, I commando raid here, I get rid of his cards in hand. That was a suboptimal commando raid from a pure numbers point of view, but it keeps him from playing jump on me, and I can't stop him from generating money here. I just want to stop him from advancing his board state or doing anything. I follow up with an overconfidence, which is good, perfectly fine. And I save a couple of damage that way, and I get him to spend the money on the damage. And he puts it on the Yoda, and now I know the target is Yoda, and not Leia, which makes sense because I have all the force speeds. So on that note, all right, there's the force speed that should not be in the pool. I should have removed that to the DL44. And it lets me get a little bit greedy here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to put a Force Illusion, I believe. I think I'm going to put a Force Illusion on Leia. Had that Force Speed die not been in the pool, and Yoda would not have that shield off of the Force Speed, I put this Force Illusion on Yoda instead. because he has a very high probability of rolling out at least 5 damage to kill Yoda, and I absolutely want to keep him alive. The odds of him rolling out 6 damage off of like a drop in or a force speed activation or something else non-respondable with what he has on board is much lower. And I was anticipating he was going to play a weapon, but the odds of 6 damage aren't super great. I should be able to respond to it in some way if it's going to happen. Whether it's him immediately playing a force speed and then I can roll out Yoda and do things in that manner. And that's really where the crux of this first game came down. I had the force speeds and he didn't. If he ever has more force speeds than me, he wins. If he ever jumps me and I'm not expecting to be jumped, then he wins. If he ever has 2 X8 Night Snipers on the board, he wins. If he has a pile of upgrades early, he wins. I would say the vast majority of the times we play this out, he wins the match. So this was actually a very, very lucky match for me, and that was a very, very good mind trick right there. I end up removing the dice that can generate him more income and set up a jump or any sort of blowout removal that he has, and I want him to spend the money he has on board or spend actions to get Yoda into the pool to flip that DL44 to the free side. So knowing that he can't kill anybody with that 5, and if he does, he can't actually play another a weapon on Yoda and to try to kill my Yoda. I just pick that pile for him to do, especially since the other pile had a Han, an X8, and a holdout die. That could easily match 5 damage regardless, and it could bump over to more damage and more resource in generation. I'm looking at his deck. I'm not looking at his deck. I'm looking at his discard pile, figuring out what he has left in the deck. It's pretty. Most of it's pretty self-evident. I don't know if he has Rebel in the deck, so I don't know if anything can be played out of the discard, which is pretty relevant. And I just roll some really good stuff right there. So dropping on Yoda, that was weird. I guess he can't affect what I'm doing this round. I didn't see his other 2 cards in it. I'm going to take a look. It's Entangle and Double Cross. There's absolutely no reason to do that because if he entangles now, then it's essentially the same thing as having just let me resolve discard sides anyway. So that was very, very strange play. I'm trying to figure out if I should power action the 2 right now and get out from under the jump that he's representing, or if I should just take the discard that I got from Yoda and take a 50% chance at it. I end up hitting the deck. Just pure reason is that it's more cards that way, more chances of getting the last jump, and I do hit it. So I know he doesn't have that, and I figure the last card is a weapon of some sort. And I find the Lethal Mill. Caused by the drop in play. Very strange. And he just makes the joke himself. He says, no speeds. I have no speeds. He knows that's a critical card. For him, it's a critical card in every matchup. For this, it's even more so. You can completely then just deconstruct my entire game plan through action cheating, and I have no capability of actually responding because his board state continues to grow while mine continues to decrease. So let's skip ahead a little bit. No one needs to see mulligans and whatnot. I'm hard mulliganing for Force Meditation, EMP Grenades, and Force Speeds. I just need as many cards as I can get, as fast as I can get them, and I can't afford to be like trying to mitigate. The odds of me mitigating anything are super, super low, regardless. So I just need to keep him from building a board, and I need to just roll with it. All right. So he chooses to play on feed. Now he starts with a ton of money all the time. Gets that X8. And he's got a much better start. 4 speed and X8. X8 is very, very good in this matchup because I have no way to interact with his resources other than single disrupt. Single disrupt does not affect Han Yoda's ability to generate income at all, especially when he has speed and he is on his battlefield. He is, at this point, almost completely non-interactive. And I put Force Meditate on Yoda there instead of Leia, even though Yoda is his target, I believe, and should be his target because he can carry Force Speed. Because I'm never guaranteed many actions or activations, and I need as many dice in the pool at a time as I can get. Because at any given round, I may find myself in a position where now I'm only guaranteed one more action, and it needs to count, which means Yoda takes priority over Leia, which is again why he's targeting Yoda. Pops some real good damage into him. And I'm just getting what I can out of the rest of this round. I think this was possibly a mistake of his, was resolving that Yoda die. If he could have just claimed there, it's the same thing as generating a money, basically. The mill on my side of the table is immaterial, and it prevents me from doing really weird things like claiming and then finding a way back into the game that way. I don't think, based off of this start, that me getting the battlefield right there would have done anything for me at all. But it is what it is. The overconfidence is there, which I don't necessarily agree with. He doesn't care about what he has in hand, or if he only cares about one card, then keeping overconfidence in hand lets him protect that card a little bit better, and it lets him not spend money. Oh, right here, I ask him if he would keep Flames of the Past in between rounds. I'm very concerned about the X8, but it's not in his discard pile. I'm not gonna spend 2 money to remove a 4 speed with Yoda already at 6 damage. I just wanted his opinion. It's certainly not a good idea to keep it. I need mitigation. I need 4 speeds. I need something. I need some method of interaction in this game, and Flames of the Past is not it. I did draw my other Flames of the Past here, and I didn't have much else going on in my hand for this round that would actually help at all. So I check his discard. I thought I saw the other force throw in there. So screw it. Let's just get rid of the force throw. It's permanent removal of a die, and it might let me resolve mill sides. Maybe that's a mistake to spend my money that way, but oh well. I do get my force speed. Trying to find a way back in. And he gets a second X8. And that's about when I knew I was done. I can't interact with his money, and I can't get rid of those night snipers. So the rest of this game is pretty much just an intellectual exercise, especially since he just one-shots Yoda before doing anything that round. That's painful. I think that taking that money was disrespectful. Didn't need it. I mean, there's no reason you don't. You're so far ahead at that point. I have to take more actions to get anywhere. So why not? Can't remember if Leia dies this round or the next. I see he's keeping easy pickings in his hand there, and he's got a jump. But from this position, I have no way. The amount of things that would have to go wrong for Jefferson to lose this game is absolutely insane. So you can just dump dice onto the field just to continue to add pressure and pressure and pressure, um, just to really ensure it's swift. And this is why I love Han Yoda. Just having seen it at the San Diego Regional is you force your opponents to do what they can to mitigate just off of a Yoda roll in. I don't want to beguile any of those dice, except maybe the deal 44. But I have to because he has that force speed showing. He's going to get what he can out of these dice. And he is maximizing damage. He knows the only thing I could possibly have is a hidden motive to interact with those dice. I think that was a mistake because if I did have hidden motive, then I escaped that round without any other damage dealt. But it ends up working out for him here, and he doesn't end up getting tempted, I guess, into revealing any of the other cards in his hand, which are all very high impact. Um, and kind of showing what he's going for later on. He's good on money anyway, and it was worth the risk. It's knowing when to go for those risks. to force something out of my hand or out of the mill player's hand. That's the hard thing about playing against mill. And I am more practiced at playing against mill than I am at playing mill. And I'm playing hit and run basically here just for lack of better things to do. I walk into easy pickings right there, and that's not very appealing to resolve anyway. So I re-roll, and I'm stuck on easy pickings again. And he doesn't even bother to play it. He says, "I'm going for the win right now. I need 4 damage. Not a problem." He can get 2 damage just by resolving that Yoda die along with a Han immediately. And I see it. So it was 2 damage minimum he was going to get there. But Suppressive Fire kind of interrupts it. So with his other action, I think he re-rolls here? Or does he just resolve the 1 damage? Yeah. He focuses for the kill. I'm going to be forced to force illusion the 3, and then he can use that stockpile of resources to focus X8. That's what happened in this game. I remember now. X8 is dangerous. Could have resolved the shield just to draw out another action, but not much point there. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. Cut through the table chatter. I don't think I'm actually fast forwarding. Opting for my battlefield, which is actually not necessarily really dangerous, but it does help me out a little bit. If he does get some force speeds and stuff, if I can dissuade him from playing them round 1, which I don't think he would not play them, that would be really dumb. But I at least get a little bit of value. I get something for my trouble. Round 1. And I was coughing a lot that day. The last moment, eardrums out. So it looks like he drew into weapons. Can't remember what he had. Like hold out blaster, force speed maybe. But we're matched on force speeds. And I ended up with both force speeds in my opener on this one. I'm debating whether or not I want to do anything about any of it, and I want to try to limit his income. And if he wants money, I want him to toss cards to search for it. Because not playing an ambush weapon into force speed tells me he's either A, not worried about a hit and run from Leia, or B, he doesn't have a weapon that costs 2, was my assumption. And so I needed to prevent him from getting the 3rd resource to prevent either a jump ending my turn before I'm ready for it to end, or B, the DL-44 or the Black Sun. Either way, it keeps a die off the field for this round. And he's able to double cross my Yoda to get half of his money back immediately, and then focus his own Yoda die to get the rest of his money back and remove options from my end of the table. I think that was a mistake. I don't think that was necessary at all, because you're trading essentially at that point, because I have focus showing on force speed. You're not actually saving any cards, more than likely at the end of the round. You're just choosing to get rid of double cross rather than something random. And what I can see of his hand and nearly anything in that deck is more valuable than a double cross. That was okay. Yeah, Beguile and DL44 would both be really good gets for me to snatch out of his hand. You can play the Beguile to prevent a full wipe, and prevent other things, but again, that money was probably just better spent on Beguile straight up rather than double cross into Beguile. Because with a force speed showing right here, he has to Beguile suboptimally. And that's the power of force speed, both played against the mill deck, because the mill deck has to use their Beguiles and mind tricks and everything else suboptimally. And it's also the good thing of having force speeds in the mill deck, especially prior to a Leia rollout. I actually did not expect any of my dice to be touched there because of what I was representing earlier. I had thought that if he had had any way to affect my dice, he would have done so then, basically. I was taken by surprise there, and I had to think about things for a bit. I end up getting most of what I needed out of this round with that reroll in Flames of the Past. It was a good discard. Now, my instinct is usually go for the hand in round one, just because I like getting what's curated more than I like getting what's random. And if he had still had double cross in hand, then it would have been another card off the top of the deck. I think that's how that works out, instead of possibly that DL44 in hand. So losing the DL44 really hurt him there. And I don't think he drew any. I didn't see any weapons he drew. I don't remember him playing any weapons in round two, which puts him really behind. He's having to spend cards to prevent from losing cards off of his deck that he knows are valuable. The fact that he didn't play any weapons lets me know he doesn't have any weapons. I'm not sure why he rolled Han here. If maybe he was trying to get out from under suppressive fire, but not rolling Han protected in some way by Yoda seemed weird to me. I was pretty okay with him just having the damage. Looks like that's drop in his hand, which doesn't actually do anything here. I don't know if he thought he could drop in with Yoda and then force speed to do other things, but it still doesn't make any sense to do it in that order. So I think just rolling Han was a spur of the moment. I don't think it was considered. And that is a crazy roll on my side of the board. Uses overconfidence on the force speeds like he has to. He does get rid of speed, but I still get full value out of Yoda. And that tells me he doesn't have easy pickings. He doesn't have easy pickings in hand. He's already rolled out Han, which means he probably doesn't have any weapons in hand. Uh, I'm free and clear to go. I'm just gonna hit the deck. And I'm gonna hit the deck as hard as I can. Means I'm gonna prioritize the Force Meditation resolution and just start taking things that I know he wants away from him. Not concerned with a maximum of 2 direct on board, or I should say a maximum of 4 direct on board, until I have no chance to touch the dice. And I think I play a mitigation here to get rid of one of those Han dice, which really keeps Yoda healthy. And I am setting up for a hit and run commando raid play. And I'm setting up to try to keep him from generating very much money so he can't add more than 1 weapon. So if he can't add more than 1 weapon, if he discards a lot out of his hand, and I figure he's going to have some really good stuff, I can set up for a hit and run commando raid off of force speed and get most everything out. Or he doesn't draw up and he sticks with a bad hand for the rest of the game, and he has to hope to get lucky off of what he pulls off of 1, maybe 2 cards right off the top. If I remember right, I take away the pile closest. I take away the force speed, I'm pretty sure. I don't want him to have the tempo. I don't want him to be doing anything else. And I know he's probably not going to pitch to reroll just 1 Yoda die. Whereas he may pitch to reroll a Yoda die if he has a chance of getting money and focusing over 2 direct. This locks him in. It damage limits him and locks him into only getting 2 damage in. And I think I just end up claiming here. My mitigation is I'm not needing much mitigation. My money situation is fine even if he disrupts me. And my options are to pitch cards that I'm using to set up to reroll Leia when I could just use those cards next round early. And in return, I'm not guaranteed to get much off the top of the deck. And I'm going to turn this up. I'm pretty sure I saw him draw DL 44 there. So here, you can listen to me act like a total ass.
Wow. That's the thing.
God, we're not looking good at all. Let's jump.
Oh, that was a X8. Okay, so he just jumps there, and that makes plenty of sense. I'm almost positive me being an ass is coming up. We'll just leave the sound on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Maybe not. I don't know. Let's turn that back down. Jump there was absolutely the right call. He could have lost everything. So he was definitely going to lose more than 1 card if he let me resolve that stuff. But he doesn't have any way to get out from under it this time. So just kind of has to deal with it. So he puts X8 on Yoda there and drops in, which is smart because if he can resolve a Force Speed special and a Yoda special, he can get more money and drop his other weapon in hand. He ends up getting the Force Speed. But no obvious way to generate money. So he just drops his other Force Speed down. I forgot what he was going to do there. And then he forgets about his second action. And so I'm just kind of waiting a little bit. And then I remind him. So he was definitely tired here. He had to play his first round, I'm pretty sure, which put him uh, one game extra played. I cannot fault him in the slightest. I got my hit and run. I've got a Force Speed to follow up to get things done. Plenty of Force Speed follow up, in fact. And I'm tired, so I end up counting out my own actions. I start resolving focus around, and again, I'm just ripping the deck, I think, as a priority. My money situation is great. I have no worries about that. I just want everything I can get. I don't want him re-rolling either because his dice situation is pretty good. And I don't care about anything, so I get to claim. And this ends up being a very unlucky round for him. And I think this round is basically what sealed the game. Seven cards in deck. I have a possibility of ending the round in or ending the game in like 2 actions. Depending on what's in my hand. I'm pretty far ahead. And I think I was also looking for easy pickings. Not that it really affected me or my decision making, but I just wanted to know if it was going to happen. I did not need a second commando raid, so I threw one in the trash to try to draw the other hit and run, I believe, is what I was doing there. Only the Force Speed rolled specials, so it's actionable. And oh, here it is. Here's me being an ass.
I mean, you gotta make me. I'll take. Oh, one of these guys.
Yeah. So, me. Oh, you got to make me take a die away. I'm gonna find out. No, you don't. I have to make myself. Thanks. All right, the damage shown is immaterial. I'm thinking about whether or not he has impulsive at all. I don't recall ever saying it, and I know I had mentioned it. I think I either mentioned it during one of the games or I mentioned it after the game. How I love impulsive, so it was definitely on my mind in this. But getting the lucky 2 discard there and ripping all the cards out of his hand, locking him in with the 2 mil on board. from the Force Meditation sealed this up for me. He's going to roll out Han, and I think I Beguile just to get one die off the board. Because at this point, like, I didn't know what his max was. His max is clearly 10 damage. I have more than 10 health remaining. I'm just not even doing that math. I'm not capable of it right then. So when in doubt, just play safe. Oh, mind trick. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I played it, and I'm going to basically I'm just going to close this out. I'm going to pause it real quick here, and I don't know, kind of just my comment on overall playing Mill is that if you're able to stay focused and you're able to stay mentally sharp for a long period of time, then go for it. My play in especially this finals round right here was remarkably less sharp than the play that even I had done in top four. And top four was worse than any of the rounds that came before it. I don't think I made too many mistakes in the rounds that came before it, and I was able to identify a couple of critical errors that I made really early on and remind myself not to make those again. Like I forgot my own occupied city trigger once in round 3. I don't think I ever forgot one for the rest of the day. You know, things like that. But for regional is probably about the most rounds I would ever play with this deck. Or any mill deck, really, because your margin of error is razor thin. I don't think I would ever take a mill deck to Worlds. So hats off to the people who do that. Even though we play less rounds per day at Worlds, it's still built up fatigue. Like I haven't played a single game of Destiny since this regional occurred, and I'm still a little drained, even just watching myself play. I'm watching myself play something that I've already done and already made the decisions on, and it's still pulling at my mental energy. And I think that probably shows through a little bit in the commentary that you just listened to. So thank you for your patience there. And if you feel like it, just beat me up on Discord or in the comments or something. Thanks for watching, and I hope you stick around for another couple minutes because I'm going to let Jefferson close it out. I wanted him to talk about his deck some because it had me really, really excited. So please stick around. I'm just going to close this out by saying thank you again. And here's Jefferson.
Dude, that was a lot of fun. I know playing against Mill is not fun, but seeing that in action was a ton of fun. That was amazing. Dude, just talk about your deck. You have the interesting thing. Like, this is all you.
I mean, so this place was second somewhere else. So, I mean, it's kind of similar. I just changed the some of the removals because I felt like early game it was just horrible. So I would, have 2 costs, 3 costs removals or events or whatever, and I couldn't really play them. So I've added like hasty, overconfidence, a lot more one-ofs to kind of get me through early game. Other than that, I mean, pretty much get 4 speeds out and just start going ham. I think right now I might consider dropping drop-ins because I only used it a handful of times today. I don't feel like it was that, effective, or I didn't really get to see like, maybe once I would drop in, and I think in finals against Monk, dropped in Yoda, and I was able to do 4 speeds, and that's how I won. But for the most part, it's just the 2 4 speeds down on Yoda and just going to town. That was pretty much what got me.
I'll love that. I'm going to be playing that online. I'm going to be playing that online.
Play this game online?
Yes, you can play this game online. I'm probably playing that Arizona, dude. That looks like a ton of fun. That looks like a ton of fun.
It is. It's unfortunate that it got second again, but
Where'd it get second the first time?
God, I forgot where it was. Somewhere in the East Coast.
'Cause I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it played. Like I've heard people say like, oh, Han Yoda works, and I mapped it out. But I was doing stupid stuff compared to this. I was doing like force wave.
Well, I
and
know.
just weird
So
stuff with
actually,
specials. You don't need it.
Matt. So I was talking with Matt a lot, and he was actually doing the specials variant of this that has treasure cuttings, and so I mean, I felt like the guns version was a lot faster because of the ambush and all that. So
Yeah.
But I'm sure the other one's just as good. I mean, he placed top 4 today, so.
I was going to say the force wave in that you don't have force wave.
You don't need it. There's
You
not
don't
much-
really
there's not
need
much-
it.
There's not much
Right.
three
So
wide right now.
so I played 3 wide for the first round, top 8, and I played him in Swiss and I lost. I mean, there's nothing you can do with delve into. I think he fire sprayed, power actioned, and then at that point, turn 2, he was able to get a fist, and at that, I was just like, well, I mean, you can't really do anything. But first round, I just got going, got my speeds down, and he couldn't keep up. I was able to jump him 3 times, and second game, same thing. You just got a hard mulligan for speeds. Is that what you did?
Yeah. I had to, like, I was throwing away, like, force jumps, suppress fire. I needed that. And then I was, like, throwing away stuff to try to find hit and runs. I just needed to stay ahead of you.
Yeah,
Like,
so that's what happened first and third game. You
like,
had
whatever
those two,
damage you
had those
get, whatever
speeds.
damage you get. Like,
Yep.
that's just how
And
this game
that's how it is with most. Like with Vader, I'll take some damage. I mean, I'm not going to try to die, but you take it on the chin sometimes. That way you can establish board. And I've gotten beaten by a lot of Vaders these past couple of weeks, and it's kind of frustrating. But yeah.
I mean, Vader can just win.
Yeah, Vader's Vader, but I mean, for the most part, it's not obviously he's beatable. I mean, actually, all the matchups I played Vader in top 8, I mean, they did well. So that's actually a thumbs up, guys. It can be done, It could be done. So.
All right.